The USA men's basketball team spent some of Sunday trying to convince themselves and others willing to listen that they'll be okay without their leading scorer from 4 years ago, Dwyane Wade. Kevin Durant figures to cushion the blow of losing Wade to injury. Wade will undergo knee surgery Monday in Miami. He has prepared for that by exercising his fingers on Twitter. Somehow, after tweeting on Serena Williams and welcoming Ray Allen to Heat Nation, he still found time to sit down with our Rachel Nichols for the Sunday Conversation.
Let's start with the knee. As you sit here, you're going to have surgery in less than 24 hours. What are they going to do exactly?
You have swelling in your knee, and it's constant. And you know it's something in there that's bothering it, something that's possibly floating. And it's just to go in there, it's to find exactly where the problem is, and it's to clean it out.
This surgery and the recovery is what's going to keep you out of the Olympics. What's it going to be like for you to sit and watch when you've been in the last two Olympics?
Yeah, it's already not good. You know, I'm searching through the internet because of all the free agency stuff going on, and I see LeBron and Kobe and those guys in practice. It's weird. So it doesn't feel great. I'm not one of those guys who's like, oh, I'm glad I'm not there. You know, I wish I was there. I wish I could be playing with those guys, at least for my last hurrah.
You said after the finals was over, wow, if people only knew what I had to do to get out on the court and just be at 80%. All right, so tell us.
Just be at 80%.
What did you have to do to get out on the court?
Well, it's ice, it's stem. You know, in my case, you know, to try to get some of the swelling down, it's, you know, I'm in pumps, I'm in the cold tub, cortisone shots, you know, to make sure that, you know, it controls the swelling. Especially guarding Russell Westbrook, you gotta be, you gotta be able to move. So it's kind of like most of my days, you know, when I was dealing with this knee injury, was spent trying to, for that 2.5 hour window, if I could feel as good as I could feel just for 2.5 hours, but I spent 22 of it. It seemed like worrying about making sure that this was fine. You know, you got to be mentally strong, and it was frustrating at times. You know, hence the blow up with Coach Bo.
A little back and forth between Eric Spoelstra and Dwyane Wade. Dwyane was pretty hot.
One of my most frustrating times was in the Indiana series in Game 3, and I mean, my knee was, you know, I got my knee drained, you know, the day of the game. We thought it would give me some relief, but, you know, it didn't have enough time to recover, so my knee was, you know, probably the worst it's been.
What did he say to you that set you off?
I mean, he just tried to push me. I think he was trying to trigger something, because he know I play very well when I'm angry, but it wasn't gonna happen that night.
What's going through your mind about your body seeming to not be there with you for what you knew was such an important push?
Yeah, I'm questioning, you know, my body. You start questioning your ability a little bit. You know, you start overthinking things, overanalyzing things. And
while all this was going on, people are saying, maybe Dwyane Wade's just losing it. Maybe he's getting old. What are you thinking when you hear this discussion?
I'm only 30. You know, I look at, you know, certain players like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, players I've always looked to try to, you know, model my game out in a sense, and I say, man, those guys got better at 30. Those guys won more championships at 30. So I'm just getting started.
Ray Allen became the latest to take his talents to South Beach, joined forces with LeBron and D. Wade in Miami.
What did you think when the guy who has basically tortured you for the past few years was going to become your teammate?
You know what? It's weird because, you know, you look at it and you say the guys that you know, you got to mark on the count, like, oh, I got to go against this guy that night. Two of them are on my team, LeBron James and Ray Allen now. Having
a Jesus Shuttleworth caliber sharpshooter out there definitely opens things up even more. It changes the X and O's for you and LeBron, but it's another personality to manage too. What's the challenge going to be of that?
This is the perfect situation to manage personalities. Miami, with all the personalities we had, with everything we have to deal with, he'll fit right in.
Dwyane Wade insists it was his knee, not his age, causing him the problems in the postseason.
Dwyane Wade is one of just 2 players still on the Heat roster that has now won 2 championships with Miami. The road to get to his second was not easy for reasons that have nothing to do with basketball. Last March, a judge awarded Wade sole custody of his 2 sons. The boys have regularly scheduled visitation with their mom in Chicago, but as Wade tells Rachel Nichols, the day before Game 3 of last month's NBA Finals, Wade walked off the practice court in Miami and into a parent's nightmare.
Yeah, you know, that day sucked for me. Just getting out of practice and getting a message saying, you know what, your kids are, they're not here for pickup. And you start getting worried, and all I can think about was, is my kids safe? Are my kids going to get back home? One thing led to another where, it came up to, the law enforcement had to get involved.
What's your first gut reaction when you realize this isn't just a miscommunication, but your ex-wife has your kids and the intention at that point is not to give them back to you?
When you deal with something over and over again, obviously for me, it's always, I get scared, and every time my kids leave the house, I get nervous that they might not return. And that's because of, it's been situations where, it's been fought for them to return back. So I'm up all night. I'm trying to figure out ways. I'm talking to the police while I'm on the phone. And if I had to get on the plane to go to Chicago, I would have been there to make sure I bring them back myself.
If you had to miss Game 3 of the finals?
I'd have missed Game 3 of the finals. My kids are the most important things to me. I would do anything I could. So missing Game 3 is what I had to do. Then we'd have probably had to go 7 games.
Game 3 was a hugely pivotal game in this series. The series was split. You guys were coming back to Miami. So as you're dealing with all of this off the court and the police are being called to your ex-wife's house and you don't know where your kids are, how are you also preparing to play a game on the court? I
wasn't concerned about it until I knew my kids were safe. They kind of got into the custody of my sister at about 9:30, 10. I knew they were safe that day at about close to midnight. And then at that time, I went to the gym for a few hours and I kind of got my mind off of it, worked out, did what I needed to do. And then that's how I got ready for Game 3.
You walk into the arena, you go up to the practice court?
Actually, I go to the weight room first. And then I go out to the main court because I want to shoot on the main court where all the final stuff is. And at this time, I want to go in there and I want to let some of that frustration out. But I can't overwork because I got a knee problem.
It's got to be 1 in the morning at this point. And a game the next day.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We're not sleeping anywhere in the finals. I was just, going to the arena. And that's my place of sanity. It's always been my sanctuary for as long as I was a kid. But also, my kids still wasn't in Miami and they wasn't safe. So I really didn't get comfortable until like 6 o'clock that morning when I knew they landed. In Miami. When
you think now back through the finals, through the playoffs, everything, physical, mental, everything, that you went through to earn this title, how is it different than the first time that you earned it?
Anytime you have an opportunity to win, you're so blessed, you're lucky. But, this one was special. I went through a very public, very nasty divorce. I went through a very public, very nasty custody battle, lawsuits. I'd have been through I've been through it all in the sense of off the court. I'm so different. I'm still Dwyane, the young kid at heart. But, I grew up. I became an adult.
So you now have 2 rings, MVP of the finals, multiple All-Stars, Olympic gold medal. People always talk about your buddy over there, LeBron, and what his legacy is. Where do you fit in here in basketball?
Yeah, right. That's not bad. I don't know. I just know that, when I get done playing this game, when I walk away from it, everyone's gonna say, you know what? That guy that stands 6'4" on a good day gave it everything he had.
Now, I'm not going to ask you to get to 1, 2, 7, 8, because you got in trouble for that last time. But do you have a sense, after winning a title with this group, how far you guys can go and what you can accomplish?
We're confident. We know, we have so much more work to do. It's just starting. We thought this was hard. Try repeating. I've been there before. It's harder. So we'll take our time on all those numbers, and we're just going to worry about what we have to do as a team to put ourselves back in that position again where we can compete for them.
Dwyane Wade, the 9-year vet, is averaging 25 points per game for his career. He has been a member of 2 championships team, the only 2 players in NBA history to finish their career with multiple titles and a scoring average of 25 or more points. Michael Jordan and Wilt Chamberlain, not bad company. And we should mention he did have successful knee surgery yesterday. It will keep him out of the Olympics.